Anderson Cooper, AC 360, CNN weeknights 10 Eastern.
Keeping them honest with new developments in what is the strangest story we've been following in a long time. The case of an assistant attorney general in Michigan who for months has singled out a gay college student for attack. Assistant Attorney General Andrew Shirvell, that's him on the left, and the college student is Chris Armstrong, that's him on the right. Calls for Mr. Shirvell to be fired have been growing for days since he appeared on this program. Well, today it was announced that Mr. Shirvell is now on voluntary personal leave. He's not been fired, he still has a job, but he faces a disciplinary hearing when he returns. His boss is the Attorney General of Michigan, Mike Cox. That's him. He says he can't fire Shirvell because Shirvell has the right of free speech in his spare time. A lot of legal experts disagree, saying his actions go way beyond what's appropriate for a public official and way beyond matters of free speech. So the question is, why hasn't he been fired or at least reprimanded? On this program, the Attorney General implied that Shirvell was just a minor functionary in his office. Well, tonight we've uncovered evidence suggesting that Shirvell's political ties to the Attorney General go way back. We'll get to all that in a moment, but first I just want to bring you up to speed on the case. Andrew Shirvell launched his blog targeting Chris Armstrong after Armstrong became the first openly gay student president of the University of Michigan. After months of being attacked online, confronted on campus by Shirvell, Chris Armstrong requested a public protection order on the 13th of last month. University of Michigan has also barred Shirvell from setting foot on campus, in part because of activity like this. A viewer sent in this photo of Andrew Shirvell picketing outside a nightclub that Chris Armstrong was in. Shirvell also admits hanging around outside Armstrong's home at night with a video camera. Now remember, Chris Armstrong is a college student. Mr. Shirvell, though off-duty, is a public official. He is also a University of Michigan alum. So there's court action pending against Andrew Shirvell and a no trespass order in effect. Yet today, when we contacted the Attorney General's office, they asked us for details about both from us, seemingly unaware of either. We also uncovered evidence that calls into question Attorney General Cox's statements minimizing the role of and his connections to Andrew Shirvell. I first asked him about those ties on Wednesday. Jeffrey Toobin last night in this program, a CNN legal analyst, said that this is more about you than about Shirvell, and he right. said that Shirvell is a political ally of yours who worked on your campaign, and that you campaigned on family values and weren't very supportive of gay rights, and to fire him would be politically difficult for you, and that plays a part in this story. I wanted you to be able to respond to that.
Well, Mr. Toobin reminds me of the old joke, I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on TV.
He went on to emphasize it was a free speech issue and his hands were tied. Other than attacking Toobin, though, he really didn't answer the question about his political ties. Here's what we uncovered in a search of Michigan campaign finance records. Thousands of dollars paid by the Cox campaign to Andrew Shirvell. And this goes back way back to 2002 to a campaign. Consulting fees, payroll fees, and other campaign-related expenses. Shirvell, it turns out, also worked on Mr. Cox's 2006 campaign. As for his job, Attorney General Cox described him as a frontline grunt assistant prosecutor. In fact, he works in the office's appellate division, which makes him more than just a simple grunt. We invited Mr. Cox to come back on the program and talk. He declined. He did, however, take a shot at former Attorney General and current Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm, who tweeted yesterday that if she were still Attorney General, she'd have fired Shirvell by now. Cox said today, I don't know why she's so freaking irresponsible. She went to Harvard Law School. The civil service rules are a huge shield for free speech, and she knows that. Actually, we looked it up. Section 26, subsection 1, item B, subitem 2, says an appointing authority may discipline a classified employee for just cause. Just cause includes, but is not limited to, the following: conduct unbecoming a state employee. Governor Granholm, who we ought to point out is a Democrat and does not share Attorney General Cox's political views, clearly believes Mr. Shirvell's conduct was unbecoming. And so does her predecessor, Frank Kelly, who was Michigan's Attorney General for 37 years.
Well, when he was barred from the University of Michigan because of his actions, that raises the question of sexual harassment and intimidation. Right away, there's laws up against that. I would have my lawyers check into it, and if he had done any of those things, he violated his agency and should be disciplined immediately.